Welcome to the Automotive Diagnostic Podcast. We're going to explore ways to sharpen our diagnostic skills, find learning resources, and hear from experts in the automotive field. What's up, automotive world? This is the Automotive Diagnostic Podcast. My name is Sean Tipping. I will be your host today. Thank you so much for listening. Today, I have a special guest on that we're going to chat with. His name is Brandon Dills. He's the owner of Jarhead Diagnostics, and we're going to talk all about what he's got going on with his company, going mobile, and I'm really excited to get into the interview, so let's jump right in. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for chatting with me today.
Thanks for asking anyways. I mean, it was kind of caught me off guard, so.
Yeah, well, this is why I did this, so that I could talk to people out there in the field that I probably wouldn't have a chance to meet otherwise, unless maybe at a training event or something like that.
Yes, sir.
So let's start out. I just want to have you introduce yourself a little bit and just tell everybody a little bit about you.
Brandon Dills, Marine Corps veteran, and then after I got out of the Marines, I went into automotive field, and since then, I mean, it's pretty much all I've done. I master certified ASE, master certified Kia, master certified Hyundai. So, and then probably about a year ago, that's whenever I started Jarhead Diagnostics, and now hoping to take that full time here shortly.
Yeah. I wanted to, you were saying that working on going mobile with that. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
It's a big transition to do that.
Yeah, I could tell. Yesterday, actually, I went out and I kind of networked with about 12 different shops, just kind of locally, just to kind of get some fillers out there, and we're going to go from there.
Okay. So yeah, I definitely wanted to talk to you about Jarhead Diagnostics, the company that you own. You guys make all kinds of different diagnostic equipment. I was going through the whole list of stuff, and the pulse sensors obviously were one of them. You guys have a WPS case for the
yes, sir.
Transducer, the Pico cells, and you got a few other things as well. You tell us. You can just start with a pulse sensor if you want. Just like to hear about. I just talked to Cody recently on his pulse sensor. Is this
yes, sir.
pretty much the same type of sensor, operates in the same way?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to do pretty much what his does. The way that kind of came about, actually, the way all this came about, it started with the pulse sensor. I bought my Pico about a year and a half ago, and then after I bought the Pico, I bought the Synex first look sensor at the same time. And then I was like, well, I might want to do more than one capture at the same time. So kind of started messing around, and I made my first pulse sensor, and it was like I just posted on one of the Facebook pages like, hey, check out what I just did, just kind of excited about making something, and then got somebody asked me to buy one, and then one went to two went to 10, and it's just kind of spiraled out of control since then.
Nice. You make those with what, like a 3D printer, or how do you actually make the housing?
The very first probably the bunch that I made at first was PVC piping, and then around December time frame, well, actually around November, December, we bought a 3D printer, and my wife, she kind of stepped up as the CAD designer because she's better at some of that stuff than me, and she with my ideas and her doing the CAD stuff, she designed the first pulse sensor out of 3D, and then I played with that one kind of behind the scenes for about a month, just trying to see if it would hold up, because it is 3D printed, compared to other stuff. And then in January 1st, I think I sold the first 3D printed one. And then I actually just here recently, about a month ago, I redesigned it to kind of give it a little bit better appeal to it. So.
Okay. What did you change about it?
The type of sensor that I use in it, and then just how the internals of it work, just to kind of give it a little bit better, like voltage scaling. Because my other one, I mean, I compared it to some of the other ones, and the waveforms look really good. Mine always had a lower voltage, and so I figured just try and redesign a little bit to get a higher voltage reading out of it.
Yeah, using these sensors, it's actually kind of impressive how much voltage they produce out of
Yes,
the
sir.
little piezo. First time I saw it, it went off the scale on my scope. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty impressive, the amount of energy one of those things can develop from some vibrations.
Yeah, it was actually kind of crazy. Last this past Tuesday or Wednesday, I had mine. I was checking a wheel bearing. I was using it for the vibrations on the wheel bearing, and I just had it sitting on my roll cart, and I was lifting the lift, and the locks on the lift. Every time it smacked the locks, you could watch on my Pico the voltage jump from 15 feet away. It was crazy.
Yeah, incredibly sensitive. The the amount of things that we can we can check with these, it's pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
You can really get creative with them. Tell me about the WPS case that you have as well.
Well, it's about 3 or 4 months ago. I bought a WPS, and as you know, those aren't a cheap thing at all. And
No.
so I was just trying to put something around it to kind of help out with bumps and everything. And Auto Nerds, they have their little rubber bumpers, but the only way to get those is you have to buy your WPS from Auto Nerds. And so I was just trying to figure out something that other people could buy versus having to buy strictly from Auto Nerds. So that's whenever my wife stepped up again, and through a lot of trial and error of trying to get the measurements down and everything, we got the WPS case. So
Awesome. Yeah, it's something like that. Definitely want to protect it, and yeah, I'd probably be the one to drop mine. So having a case would be a good idea.
yes, sir.
Couple other things. I was just going through all the different products that I saw on your Facebook page. You got a 5-volt reference box as well.
Yeah, before I got the WPS, this was shortly after I got my Pico. I wanted to try and do some in cylinder, just playing around and everything. And actually, Cody, I was chatting with him kind of back and forth, and he showed me he had a setup to where it was his 5-volt box was designated just for running his transducer. And I was like, well, that's pretty sweet. So we kind of talked back and forth, and I made one. But whenever I made mine, I kind of changed the design a little bit. His ran off the car battery. I used the internal battery on mine. And then I think his, it only had the plug-in for the transducer, and then I put bananas on mine because I figured, with it being a 5-volt box, yeah, I'm using it for the transducer, but if I had a 5-volt reference issue, then I could also use that to kind of help out my 5-volt reference testing. And just kind of like the pulse sensor, I made the first one, posted on Facebook page like, hey, I'm just excited I made this, and one sold, then two sold, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control from there as well.
So you can actually take that 5 volts and send it out onto a circuit on the vehicle if you needed to.
Yes, sir. And then one of my buddies, Daryl, I was kind of talking with him because I was having issues. I was wanting to test a cam sensor, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on and everything. And him and I kind of shot ideas back and forth, and I made a different lead that goes with it. For pull down, it'll current limit the voltage, or current limit the power going into the signal wire, and I can actually check cam sensors with it now. So like you could plug it up, like unplug a cam sensor, plug in the 5-volt box, and turn on the engine, let it run. You can actually watch it. I've used that same setup for like checking ABS sensors and everything. So
you're eliminating the rest of the circuit and just seeing if the sensor itself is functioning.
yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, definitely some uses for that as well. No, all this stuff is so cool. You guys really impress me that you're making your own tools. I've never really done anything like that, but just to, come up with an idea or a purpose for something and then decide, hey, I'm going to make that. I'm going to create that. That's awesome. I really enjoy that. So it's cool what you guys are doing. Any other products or things that you're making, or maybe some stuff that's in the works for?
I mean, I make a bunch of different leads. People like my leads, just the way I make them and everything. And then, like I know you've talked a lot about it in your podcast, your test light for
for load testing or
There you go, load test. And so I make one of those and sell them.
I've seen those. I've seen the leads, the custom leads that you make. They've got like a braided covering on them.
Yes, sir. Uh, Same thing. I needed a set one time, made it. Hey, I was just bored today, made these leads, and then same thing kind of took over. But as far as like kind of in the future for Jarhead, Warwick Test Industries, they're based out of UK, kind of a big or a big company out there. They messaged me, asked if they could carry my sensor. So we kind of talked back and forth. So they're going to start carrying my sensors in the UK, and then I'm now carrying some of their equipment as well. So
Nice. That's awesome.
yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. Just he messaged me out of the blue. One of the other items that I make is a kit to be able to permanently mount your Pico inside of a roll cart, so that way it's safe, and then it allows the leads to come out the front of the cart or the side, however you want to do it. And he messaged me about that, talking to me, and then he asked if he could carry some of my products, and so that's where that went. So now I'm not only am I selling here, but he's also selling my stuff in the UK for me. So
Fantastic. So you could have the actual Pico Scope permanently fixed, and then the cables or the leads would actually attach the outside of the cart. Is that what?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 3D printed bracket that you would actually cut a hole in front of your cart. You would mount it, but since it's plastic, it allows it not to have like a crossover of your grounds. And then each one is going to come with a colored disc to kind of signify which channel you're on. And then it comes with 4 6-inch leads to just hook into the back of that to go to your Pico.
Nice. I was going through the Facebook page, and I saw you guys t-shirts that you have. You're wearing one right
yes,
now. People on the podcast can't see that, but I liked the design on the back. It's an illustration of Ohm's Law, and
yes, sir.
some little characters pushing the amperage through the pipe and everything, and that was funny, and it reminded me of this is a few years back. I was out at a bar with my wife. We were getting some dinner, and I ran to the bathroom, and I'm standing there doing my thing, and typical bar style bathroom, people write all over the stall walls and on the walls with marker. They scratch stuff in, just the graffiti, if you will. And usually it's something offensive, or I don't know, maybe somebody's phone number or something like that. Stuff you'd typically see in that style of a bathroom. And I'm looking, and in the middle of all this, somebody wrote down E equals I times R in marker right above this urinal. And I just started laughing, because I mean, not everybody's going to get why that's there, and why they decided to write that in that stall. I have no idea, but I got a good chuckle out of that. And I like to share that with my students when we're talking about that. If you're ever at this bar, check out the Ohm's Law that somebody wrote down above the urinal. So currently, are you working at a Chrysler dealership?
No, I left Chrysler probably about 4 months ago, and I'm at a AAA as their lead diagnostic tech for AAA car care.
How's workflow been for you with the quarantine and everything?
The first probably month, it was horrible. Luckily, I was on a guarantee. That was part of my pay plan whenever I started, and so that's kind of held me over. And then they furloughed pretty much everybody in the shop, almost all of our advisors and half of the people in the shop itself. And then after they furloughed everybody, it kind of picked up, just, less people, more work. So, and then about a week ago, it kind of slowed back down, but it's better than what it was, I can tell you that. So
yeah, it's been, as a whole, starting to ramp up around here. Our stay-at-home order is lifted tomorrow, actually, and so I got to imagine it'll get better from here on out. But yeah, it was rough there for a little while as far as the workflow goes. And yeah, it's a similar scenario I saw at a lot of shops where they'd lay off techs or upfront people or whatever, and then they actually kind of got slammed because they didn't have enough people to do the work that was coming in. It's such a strange strange time. But that's good
Yes,
to hear
sir.
you're on a guarantee. That's nice that they're taking care of their employees that way.
Oh yeah. Actually, I mean, as a company as a whole, like my pay plan had a guarantee from the get go whenever I started, but whenever North Carolina shut down, I guess end of March, they AAA came forward as far as the AAA Carolinas, and they put everybody in a guarantee. Every single tech had a guarantee. It was 90% of whatever their pay was for the previous 9 month or previous quarter, 90 days. They put them at a 90% guarantee on that. So,
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely definitely not the case for all the shops out there. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you going mobile. You were talking about doing that as well. And like I mentioned before, yeah, big transition. What what's your target audience? Are you just hitting up other shops? Are you going for body shops? Trying to tackle anything, staying on domestic side, European? What's your approach with that up front?
um, I'm kind of in the mindset of whenever you're first trying to get your name out there, trying not to turn down anything. So, I don't know if I'm going to go a whole lot towards body shop just because I don't have ADOS equipment, and I know how places are. They'll call you and be like, "Hey, can you do this?" Well, no, I can't do it, and then they'll never call you back because you couldn't do the one job. So, um, eventually, I'd like to go in a body shop once I kind of get my name out there, money coming in, get some ADOS equipment. But right now, it's mostly just different shops. We got about 4 different chain shops between, like Firestone, Precision Tune, all that. I went and talked to a bunch of those, bunch of independent shops, just kind of put my name out there. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the time the toughest part is getting your foot in the door. I mean, obviously the cars can be difficult too, but once once you're in there and you show them what you can do, or you help them out in some way, um, most of the time, yeah, they're going to keep calling you, and they're happy to see you. I'd say 90% of the time. There's an occasional where the technicians in the shop might not be so happy that you're in there, uh, you know, doing their job. But a lot of the time, honestly, these techs, and especially the shop manager, shop owners, are happy to see you, and they just here's the car, figure it out for me so we can keep making money. So once you're established, you got a good rapport with those shops. It's really fun. I love it. I love going in and working through these problems. You see really interesting stuff. I think that's the coolest part about it. And people like me and you, that's why I'm doing this. I want to see those challenges. I want to see the interesting things that maybe I wouldn't just working, every day in a normal shop.
Yeah, that was kind of a big change in my career. Whenever I got in the Marines, my first automotive job was at Firestone. I was there for about a year, and then left Firestone and went to dealership life. And I was at Toyota for about a year and a half, about 6 years with Kia and Hyundai mixed together, and then I was only at Chrysler for a couple months. It just Chrysler really wasn't my thing at a dealership level, anyways. But after I left Kia and Hyundai, I went independent, and I was independent for about a year and a half, and that was the change of pace I needed because just dealership life kind of sucks after a while and repetitive pattern failures. Why are you diagnosing that? You already know what it needs, and just so the independent life kind of helped out a lot with that. And
there's a right place for everybody. Some techs really love that the dealer life, and then other people don't. And yeah, I actually did a small stint with Toyota as well, and yeah, it was very boring, very monotonous, kind of the same thing every day. And the independent side of things, even just at a shop being a tech, you get to see something a little different every day. It's never exactly the same thing. Sure, there's still pattern failures and stuff, but you get to mix it up. And again, it's everybody's got their own ideas of what a great job is, but that's what I like. I like something a little bit different every day.
yes, sir, that's me. I mean, I don't know. I guess like whenever I was in the Marine Corps, it was like literally the same thing every day. I mean, I was aviation, so it was like every day I'd go in, I'd work on the same thing, same pattern failures, just and then now that's why I kind of like being able to just have something to where it's something different every single day.
So yeah, so you were doing mechanical work while you were in the military as well.
Yes, sir. I worked on the Harriers, the little hovering jump jets. Did 3 deployments in the Marine Corps, and then with them, um, my specialty was ejection seats. I worked on the ejection seats, canopy systems, and then uh, cabin cooling, defog, and equipment cooling for like all the avionics equipment. So I've been kind of turning wrenches for way too long now.
Well, that's really cool. And hey, I just want to thank you for your service too. I got a big respect for all military members. It's really impressive serving your country like that. So thank you for that.
It was my pleasure. I mean, it's something I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. So it is what it is.
All right, and explains the name of your company too.
Yes, sir.
So if there's anybody out there that's interested in any of your products, how can they find you or contact you if they wanted to buy one of these pulse sensors or cases or custom leads?
Right now, I'd say 90% of my stuff is coming off of Facebook. Do a little bit off of Instagram. If they're in the UK, you can contact Warwick Industries and they'll be able to help you out as well. But right now, mostly 90% of it's coming off Facebook. So find my Facebook page at Jarhead Diagnostics and I'll be able to help you out.
Cool. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well for anybody that wants to check that out and see what they've got. So any recent vehicles, case studies, anything really interesting or something that comes to mind that you've worked on recently worth noting?
I got 2 kind of, I guess, funny ones. One of them was a Chevy Express 3500. The headlights would constantly flash, and after messing around with it and everything, kind of find out the daytime running light module was just constantly flashing the ground instead of saying steady ground. And then I had I think it was an older Avalon. It was it would constantly activate all the relays on the panel under the hood, just constantly. You'd hear them click on off, no matter what was going on, engine off. And come to find out, the PCM had been set in water and just wreaked havoc. So I could like use my test light and bypass everything and get everything go away. And that ended up needing a PCM for that. So.
Okay. Was it full of the green crusties or?
Oh yeah. I picked it as I went to pick because it was one of the ones where the PCM was under the carpet on the passenger floorboard. As soon as I picked it up, the carpet was soaking wet. I mean, it was. And then another one of their complaints was their sunroof was leaking. So you kind of.
Yeah. Put 2 and 2 together. That'll do it. Yeah, I tell you, this was water intrusions. Once you spot it, you know what's going on. But man, that causes some weird issues on a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, it makes you. Sometimes you'll chase your tail. So.
Yeah, before you realize that that's what's going on. Maybe if it had dried up or whatever, but yeah, it just it messes everything up on a car, especially with control. When you get control modules involved, sitting in water is going to be trouble.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any recommendations for anybody that's listening? Now, this could be a tool of some sort. This could be a resource or maybe training, anything like that. I like to ask anybody that comes on the podcast just to share any recommendation they might have for somebody that's listening, because I want to provide as many resources for people as possible.
I'm a firm believer the best tool that you have is in between both your ears. So any type of training that you can get, even if it's YouTube, like Super Mario Diagnostics, or PJ with Voltage Drop, Cody with Cody's Auto Diagnostics, or Train by Techs are really good as well. If you can't afford to go to any actual training, or even if, I mean, I know for us, like O'Reilly's here, they usually have some pretty good training. Just get into any type of training that you can. That's going to be the best source of anything you can help out with your career.
Yeah, and Train by Techs has a calendar up for all of the webinars that have been going on recently. You checked out any of the the free webinars? It seems like every single day there's one to watch.
Yeah, I went off of WorldPack. I did their pulse width modulating class the other night. It was like a week ago or so, and then I did the WorldPack as well when Bernie did his in-cylinder pressure transducer class. So.
Yeah, you gotta watch that one a couple times to catch all the knowledge that he drops when you're listening to Bernie. He kind of starts out slow and basic, and then all of a sudden there's just things flying at you. You're like, okay, hold on, I gotta rewind that. Well, I'll listen to him say that again.
It's funny because I went to ASTE last year, which is in North Carolina. It's a big training event, and they had Bernie there for his pressure transducer class, and the class is like 3.5 to 4 hours long. And he told us at the very beginning, he's like, this class is not a 3 to 4 hour class. He's like, if you guys want to stay through your lunch, stay. But yeah, the amount that comes out of his mouth, it's insane what one person knows.
Yeah, some of the videos I'll watch on YouTube, like 1.5 speed. Sometimes I'm just like, all right, I'll pick this up a little bit and try to stick with it. And there's no way I could do that with his videos. No. Maybe slow it down. Maybe I should try that. That would be helpful.
Yeah, for his age, he's getting it. So.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, just want to say thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to throw one thing out there. The offer that I gave you for those pulse sensors for your school, I'd like to put that out there. If any instructor, as far as like a post-secondary school, if they want to try and get some pulse sensors for their training, please feel free to message me, and I'll try and get you set up with at least a few, so that way their students can learn as well. So,
yeah, that was very generous of you. So, yeah. Most of you probably know, listening, I'm an instructor for a local community college for the automotive program, and Brandon offered to donate some sensors for us to use, some of the pulse sensors, so that we can build that into our curriculum. And we do some scope work with the second year students, so that'd be a great addition. So yeah, thank you for that. That's huge. Showing these students the stuff that's out there, stuff that can be used, because otherwise they might not be exposed to that, unless they seek out the training. But I know I went a long time before I knew any of this stuff existed. So if we can we can at least show them what's out there in school, it'll make a big difference. Maybe they won't use it right away. Maybe it takes a few years for them to get to that level, but at least they know what is possible, what they can use. So really cool. Yeah, thank you for that. And that's awesome that you're doing that.
I'm just trying to give back. I mean, as much as like people like you do with your training and everything, and trying to bring up the younger techs, and anything I can do to kind of help out, speed their process along and get them to where they need to be, then I'm willing to do that. So.
Okay, that's it for the interview. Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in and checking this out. Make sure to check out the show notes for links to everything that we talked about, including where to find the products that Brandon sells, and then also links to the website and the Facebook group. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, check that out. Also, one other thing, if you're enjoying the podcast, if you do me a favor and just throw the show a rating or a review, that would mean a lot to me. Really appreciate it. So thanks again for listening, and have a great day.